Welcome to Find It in Fergus Falls. I'm Lisa Workman, the Executive Director of the Fergus Falls Area Chamber of Commerce. Mary Philippi is out on an assignment with the mobile food drop for today's show. So we want to thank in advance all the folks who helped out and volunteered and make that food drop in Fergus Falls here possible. Lots of fun things going on in the community. We've got Garden Day on Saturday here in Fergus Falls and lots of great classes and lots of great things coming up. So check out our events calendar at fergusfalls.com and click on the events calendar link. You'll find out all the details of a lot of activities and great things going on in and around the Fergus Falls area. Well, we're headed out today. We're going on location to meet up with a new member of the Fergus Falls Area Chamber of Commerce. Reactor Ink and Tattoo has recently joined the chamber, so we're going to get you a little behind-the-scenes look at the tattoo artists in action here. So stay tuned. We'll be back after a bit as we head out on location.
Hey sports fans! Every Monday join Craig Olson at the Z103 Grill in Fergus Falls for the Craig Olson Live TV show. Every Monday at 6:30, meet Craig and his roster of weekly guests, including area coaches, players, and you, the fans. Sure, you can watch Craig Olson live at home at 6:30 every Monday or online at prtv1.com, or you can come and be part of the program with live audience participation. Craig Olson Live every Monday at the Z103 Grill in Fergus Falls.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We are on location here at Reactor Ink and Tattoo, body piercing, all kinds of great stuff. We're joined with the owner and founder, Steve Lyon. Steve, glad to get you guys on the show here, and welcome to the chamber. Glad to have you a part of it.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
So Reactor Ink has been kind of a process or a metamorphosis over the years, and I remember coming down here many years ago, seems like a really long time ago, when you had a shop of a different name. Tell us a little bit about that and how all that got started.
Well, we started out with the name of 2012 Tattoos. It was an idea that we would be here 4 years from when we started and still be going strong.
And that was in 2008, right?
In 2008 when we opened up. So we were thinking ahead, trying to figure out how to make it in this town.
Which is a pretty good goal, because they say a lot of small businesses fail after the first 2 or 3 years. So you started in 2008 with 2012 Tattoos with the goal of being open until 2012, and here it is 2015.
Yeah.
Time flies,
Extremely proud of it.
No kidding. Congratulations for that. So how did you get started? Because you're the original founder of the company.
I was in the Army, in the National Guard locally here. And we'd been put on deployment for Iraq, and I needed something to do in an off time.
Yep.
So just to get my mind out of what we were doing outside of the gate. So I started out by reading for about a year on tattoos, on art, really studying, and I never actually planned on doing a tattoo at all.
Really?
I was using fake skin. I was really interested in it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Taking advantage of some artistic talents you must have naturally, though.
Yeah, I must have built them up somewhere. So I learned there for about a year, and then I came back to the States and went up to West Fargo and worked at a tattoo shop up there called Sleight of Hand.
Okay.
It was a pretty good place to work at, but I learned a lot of stuff that I could do differently or better.
Sure.
So when that shop stopped, then we came down here to Fergus
And
to open up. Yep.
In 2008, 2012 Tattoos, and now 7 years has gone by, and
now we're Reactor Ink.
Reactor Ink. And now, in addition to the tattoo artwork, you guys do body piercing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of different services that you offer. You know, one of the things that I found really interesting is that all the different, you talked about, when you were studying books and about the artwork and things like that, but there's so much more to it than that. I mean, you guys have to go through a thorough amount of training.
Yes, we do everything through the Department of Health in Minnesota here. The shop itself is inspected, and then each individual artist has to have a license as well. And
so there's some thorough training too. It's not as simple as going to get your driver's license.
No, it takes years and years. Nate's apprenticeship took 2,000 hours.
2,000 hours of training.
Yeah.
And that's just as an apprentice. So you're learning side by side, working together.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as you said too, you're licensed and inspected by the Department of Health. So that's one thing that's really different about having a shop, an actual business, having a location, is that you do need to be licensed and inspected by the Department of Health versus, you know, a couple guys getting together or gals getting together in somebody's basement or garage or in their studio in their house. It's a little different.
Yes, there's so many dangers with when you're dealing with blood and bio hazards.
Yep. Well, and that's the thing too, is a lot of times people don't quite think of that. They think about, they want to go to this artist guy and maybe he's in Fargo or West Fargo or whatever. They're going out of town, which you should never do for any kind of business. Keep it all right here. But, you know, not the same regulations when you go either out of state or to a private guy.
Right. They're not as stingy on the, they're more loose on the laws in North Dakota. But we like them, we like more strict rules ourselves, just other than what the Department of Health wants. We actually go above that.
So you guys are above and beyond the minimum requirements that the state does. And again, you're talking about blood and you're talking about people's health here. You guys are keeping it safe.
Yes. And we're also involved with the Alliance of Tattoo Professionals, who also help us with education and keeping us up to date on all of our certification needs.
Well, and some of the things too that I learned when we were here for our ambassador visit are all the different types of machines and sounds and things like that. So we should talk a little bit about the process. Nate, are we ready to kind of walk through a process a little bit?
I think I was
All right.
ready for it.
All right. So we're going to take a little break and we're going to start a process here. Okay, so that way.
2 weeks post-op, I went to my first wedding dance. I was out on the floor, I danced with my wife, I danced with my granddaughters, and it was just the best ever. I am so thankful I had my knee replaced. Any activity with the girls I can do, and it's pain-free, and that's the best part. The treatment I got at Lake Region Healthcare was outstanding. I don't know that I've done the Charleston yet, but I think I've come pretty close to it.
Get you relaxed here. Get your feet up comfortable.
All right.
Beautiful. I think what we'll do is if you're going to ride Harley, we'll put it right here.
Okay.
Excellent.
It doesn't wash off very easily, just so you know.
Just so you
That's
know,
fine.
I mean, a little bit of hand sand.
It'll still be there a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a permanent thing by any means, but at the same
That's all
time,
right.
it definitely does stick through our tattooing process.
All right. Well, yeah, that's what it's all about.
It's going to be a little cold.
Okay.
I'm just kind of scrub you down. Normally I would shave your arms up. Usually I don't shave the women because there isn't much there. So.
Unless it's during the winter season, it seems that you do more.
People keep on their fur coat for the winter.
Yep.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to apply just a little bit of tattooing process.
Okay.
Kind of our guideline. There's guys that don't use stencils at all. They'll freehand everything on your arm and just kind of go for it.
Really?
There's also guys that just start with a tattoo machine and start tattooing with no design.
Just
So
off the top of their
off
head?
the top of their head, they'll do full quarter sleeves with the most beautiful work you've ever seen, and you don't know how it's going to happen until you see the end result, and it's just amazing.
Wow. You guys truly are artists.
Oh, absolutely. It has turned tenfold from being kind of a lick and stick business to more of a custom art business,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Definitely.
Normally what we do now is let this dry just a little bit.
And so do you guys do both the freehand as well as the stencil type things?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. One of my biggest favorite things now is to actually take a stencil and then accentuate it with Sharpie marker and actually draw it in on the body on the fly,
Okay.
and then tattoo it right on the fly.
Huh. And so really you guys people can bring in a design or artwork, whatever they want. They could say, well, here's 6 different things here. I like this part of this one and this part of this one and this part of this one. Can you guys put them all together then?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty fun way to do it when they bring in a decent reference or at least a feeling that they want to get across.
Or if they want to bring in something with a completely different color scheme or anything like that.
Everything's adjustable, and everything that we can is custom.
Beautiful.
Hey.
Look at there.
Look at that.
Absolutely cool.
So now this would be the first step.
This is the first step.
Okay.
And then from here, what we do is we let this dry for a little bit, and then we get machines and all of our needles and inks set up, and we would go from there.
So, like I said, a person can kind of put some of those things together, and you guys can create your own thing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, let's say a tattoo this size, how long would something like this take?
Lettering takes a little bit longer because it is tedious, and you have to be exactly on, because if you get one little line off, you're going to turn a C into an E. It's very tedious. Lettering is tedious, but you know, something like this, Steve, I know he's a little
about an hour and 15.
A little quicker than I am, but you bet, yeah. And the results, I mean, it would look exactly like it does, because we do have a perfect stencil to go off of. Yeah, we'd add a little color in here, put a little blue, and put the lettering in black.
Cool.
Be good to go.
So, people can customize them. They can bring in whatever they want. You've got a different variety, in your toolbox too, of some of the different tattoo machines. People sometimes use an incorrect word. They're tattoo machines.
Right.
But they can do like different things as far as texturing or not texturing, but coverage.
Yes, shading, lining, coloring in. And each one is set up different with a different stroke, different needle heads.
Okay.
Different textures of needles.
And then as far as colors, do you guys mix colors? Do you mix your own colors here? Or are there, 400 different boxes of ink or
There's
however
about
it comes?
4,000 different ones you can start with. But
Oh, wow.
Spendy.
Yeah, they're
So you learn how to mix the inks that you want for the smooth blend. And
Okay.
So like when you're doing a realistic piece, you can take a couple different colors, start in your dark range, and keep adding your lighter one until you get to that lighter range.
Okay.
So you're getting a multitude of colors in between 2 colors. It mixes just like paint.
Really? And is it look like paint? So what you see is, in addition to the color of the skin, is what you get, or is it more like
Absolutely.
what I call like Easter egg dye? Like it looks like one color, or the tablet looks like one color, and then when you mix it up, it looks like something else.
with the concentrates, it's a little bit different from when you actually get it out of the bottle.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the most part, and when you get tattooed and you heal up, you can take that bottle and put it right next to the ink on the skin, and they match.
That'll be a pretty close
Yeah.
match, huh?
So I
That's
mean,
cool.
it just depends on the person and how they heal, how the body accepts the ink.
Yeah.
I mean, each person heals and takes ink a little bit different, and that's one of the biggest things I've learned about tattooing is there is so many different ranges of skin that you have to be adapt to every bit of it. An older gentleman who's been out in Arizona for many years is going to have tough leathered skin. There's certain needle types we can't use on that kind of skin, but I could use on your skin because it's completely different.
Okay. So, and you guys learn all that both through trial and error as well as the education
Absolutely,
piece.
Yeah.
Because I would think that, you'd have to have a really wide assortment of tools to use
Absolutely.
based on, different people and
that
just different colors of skin to start with, too.
That kind of leads to this because over the years, the tattoo machines have evolved to kind of adapt to that. The technology and the knowledge has progressed so much that you can work on a person and the next 2-3 days it's like you never even had a tattoo, where versus years ago you're dealing with it for 2, maybe 3 weeks at a time.
Sure.
So the technology has made it actually a less intrusive process.
Some say less painful.
Yes, yeah, less painful.
Others don't.
Even listening to the new machines versus your traditional machine, it does make a difference as far as how your anxiety level goes up when you sit down in my chair. Because, I mean, even the noises alone makes the difference. I had the comment last night. He said every time you fire up that one machine, he goes, I get nervous. So when you fire this one up and you're tattooing, those nerves immediately go up. So then I'm hearing...
Especially if you've had them, and now and you have needles poking your skin.
Right.
But are they moving really fast?
2,000 times a minute.
Really?
Yes.
So they're moving really fast. It's not like,
Yeah.
bam. I mean, because I think of, my dad's got tattoos that he and his buddies did, they're, little cross or whatever that they did with
The hand
India
poking,
ink and a hand poking. I mean, that would hurt like crazy.
Yeah, it's a big difference. And they're using pretty blunt objects as well as for the piercing, because if you take a safety pin or something like that, it's completely different than the needles we're using for our machines.
Okay.
It's a different puncture. It's much more clean. It's more of a medical needle at that point than
Sure.
versus their safety
Like a
pin.
sewing needle.
Like a sewing needle, yeah. So then you go from a machine like this to running this. This is running.
Is that on?
That is on. It is running.
Wow. That
Same
must be
machine.
newer. They do the same thing,
Same machine.
but newer technology.
Newer technology. This came out
That you
about
don't even
8
hear.
months ago, and these have been on the market for years.
Which is a very familiar
That's
sound
the
of
sound
anybody.
everybody
Yep.
listens for when they come into a tattoo shop. In fact, Steve and I have stated that we need a recording of this because that's what people are used to. So, yes, you start working on somebody like this, and it turns it from a very, how do I say it?
Well, you're either used to it and comfortable with it, or
Right.
it might set you on edge. It's
Right.
kind of like, maybe it's the mother-in-law
And I
calls and
have
you
had
hear a voice on the answering machine. Oh,
And
no. Just kidding.
I have had requests for the older machines because that's what the older guys are used to. They're used to coming in hearing that noise, and I
Yep.
fire this up and they go, well, what's that? Where's your machine?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a 50-50. It depends on your collector and who's getting the tattoo too.
Big
So,
difference.
yeah.
Well, that's one thing we should talk about too. Who's getting tattoos? How old you gotta be?
You do have to be 18 in the state of Minnesota.
So moms don't have to worry about their 16-year-old kid coming here and
Absolutely not.
getting tattooed without. Now, can a parent give permission?
No, they
No.
cannot. They
Okay.
have to be 18.
Which is good.
Yeah. And
Rite of passage.
For the body piercings, we do 14
Okay.
with the parent there.
With the
for
parent
the
there.
procedure. Yeah.
And you've got all kinds of different options when it comes to that too.
Steve pierces everything from dermal implants to cartilage to noses, lips, eyebrows, you name it.
All kinds of different options that people are going with.
Yeah.
Well beyond the, back in my high school days, it was like, if you had like several piercings in your ear, you were pushing the limits then, boy, let me tell
Absolutely.
you, but
I think
not the same anymore. A
No,
little
not so
different.
it almost seems like if you don't have more than one, then you're the odd one.
There you go.
nowadays, so.
There you go. So you have to be 18. And, who are some of the folks that are coming in? I mean, I think there's,
Wow, we've got
all kinds of different reasons to,
absolutely. We've got people coming in for memorials. We have people coming in for friend tattoos, mother and daughter tattoos. Everybody from the 18-year-old with their first tattoo to the 72-year-old guy, I think that
For their first tattoo.
for their first tattoo. So I mean, we get a wide variety of people coming in here, whether they be their first tattoo or avid collector.
Yeah.
We're getting firemen, bankers, accountants. I mean, it's everybody that you can think of that you wouldn't normally think of.
Right.
So it's an eye-opener even for me when I come in here to see the different ranges of people. And it's just interesting to see, like the younger ones, they're just first starting collecting and they get their first piece and they're already booking another appointment as they're walking out the door. You create that kind of a passion, but then you get the older gentleman or the older generation coming in and they've got 2-3 pieces and they're adding on to their collection. So I mean, it's fun every day meeting different people and having different projects to work on like that.
Well, and really they're collecting art that they have with them every day.
Absolutely.
You think about, whether it's jewelry or something that you always have with you. And I think the memorial thing is interesting too when you talk about, Was it Steve? You were telling me the one time about somebody with a pet. Did you guys have somebody come in there?
Yeah, it was actually her best friend, her puppy had passed away.
Yeah.
And she come in with tears in her eyes, and then, I asked her what was going on, and she said she lost her best friend, and we had designed a tattoo with the puppy paw print and her name on top, and it was her first tattoo. And by the time she was walking out, her last statement was, "You've absolutely made my day, I can smile again." And that's the thing that I bring from tattooing.
That's the powerful part about it.
It makes the hair stand up on my arms every time I even come across a situation like that, because you can search all your life for something to do as a career.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10 people are basing it on their income and how to support their families and things like that. The tattooing has become a passion to where the income is kind of irrelevant, because you do bring things like that away from it, above and beyond your everyday grind.
Right.
I've met people from all over the local region that I never thought I'd have contact with, and now I've got really good friends out of the deal. So I'm not only making connections and doing good artwork, but then it's all of the above,
Yeah. Lot of stories that I'm sure people share, as well as whether it's a memorial or whether it's a tribute or whether it's just some design that they think is really cool, or maybe it's a message that's Chinese proverb or something like that.
Yeah.
It can be anything.
More than one time I've been told that this is their therapy chair. People come in for therapy.
Yeah.
They use tattoos as a way of release for the stress in their life. Different remembrances and bookmarks and events that they're taking place in their life. I've got a few on the wall up here from people that have been like in Iowa and Ohio, and they're marking the adventure up north. So they're bookmarks as well as whatever people bring away from the tattoo.
Super interesting.
Yeah.
So you guys do you schedule appointments then based on?
We do.
Do you meet with them first to find out how long you think it'll take, or do they say, well, I want to come in for 3 hours or?
Normally
2
what
hours
we'll do is we will take the person's idea, and that's if you can bring us as much reference as possible. Our biggest job is creating the image you have in your head. If you can bring us as much reference and colors and sizing and any information that is involved with that tattoo you're seeking, it helps our job to create that vision you have.
Yeah. So a person doesn't have to come in with what design they want perfectly sketched out.
In fact, we don't prefer that. Yeah.
Yeah, we would rather.
It's harder, probably.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. We'd rather take the different references and create our own artwork versus picking something off of the internet that's been done 1,000 times. Those kinds of things are there too, but at the same time, like I said before, we're trying to create more of a custom artwork versus a pick it off the wall. And
right.
tattoo.
Well, it's really, you don't want you want people to do the have it your way.
Right.
The
Yeah.
Burger King
Absolutely.
special orders are what you
Have
guys
your
would
mayonnaise
prefer.
if you want. Yeah.
And they allow us to guide them most of the time, so that we can get the best placement and the subject matter to really grab them in the heart, hopefully.
Yeah.
And that's another aspect too. A lot of people do come in with ideas for tattoos, and it may be a good design, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make a good tattoo. There's images that read well on paper but won't read well on the body.
Sure.
So that's kind of our job, is to manipulate the design so it is an overall accentuating for the body. I've been told time and time again is if you pop a tattoo on your arm or you pop it in a certain area, it's going to look like it's popped on your arm or a certain area.
Yeah.
But if you create it to fit the body, then it accentuates the body, and that's what we seek after every day.
Well, even something simple like, okay, this is a good, if you're going to ride a motorcycle.
If you're going to ride a motorcycle, you want to be able to read that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Plus, you guys too can determine or help people choose the right area for the right design, and based on their skin type and
Absolutely.
and skin type and age or
That's
sagginess or leatheriness or
Right. As we all know, there's certain areas of the body that are a little more sensitive than others. And for people getting their first tattoo, I don't recommend certain areas just because of the intenseness that it does take.
So for somebody just coming in, do you have okay, so these are the 3 best spots type thing?
Usually we'll go closer to the, on the upper appendages and closer to the trunk.
Yeah.
Anything that has.
I would think like a foot, the top of your foot would be really
That's
painful.
pretty intense, yes. And in fact, that's the first tattoo I did when I first started tattooing, was on myself on the foot. And yeah, I learned exactly what it's about to be on the foot. Yeah. I did drop that needle into the top of my foot and I started shaking like a leaf. You definitely feel the intensity of it for sure. So I respect anybody who gets tattooed on their feet. It's definitely something to go through. Yeah. And you know, you get the rib pieces and things like that. It's a very sensitive area. Fortunately, I've had a lot of really good clients that sit like a rock for me. You would be surprised at what a person can put themselves through and not move.
Yeah.
It's because the bottom line is we need you sitting as still as you possibly can in our chair to create the best piece of work we can.
So do people sleep?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they can't come in like all wasted, drunk.
Yeah,
No, absolutely not. They move around way too much.
Yeah, we don't recommend coming in under the influence at all.
No, I wouldn't.
It doesn't do you any good in the long run, for sure.
See, and you guys really are looking out for people. I mean,
Absolutely,
you're not taking young kids, you know, without their parents, because that, you know, to me, I'm sure there's, when they're 18, that's, my mom would never let me get one. Well, part of it is you can't.
You can, yeah, right.
You can't from a reputable shop.
Right, absolutely.
We've had people in their in their 50s here that are worried about what their mom's gonna say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Well, anything else that we haven't talked about? You know, I just love the idea that you guys do the custom. You know, the fact that people don't have to come in with a set idea,
Right.
or you know, or an expression or whatever it is. You can make it work for them. And the other thing is, I know what we forgot to talk about. Let's say maybe somebody's had a tattoo that they've either outgrown, or maybe the relationship has changed, or whatever it is. What can you guys do to help?
There's lots of options as far as reworking and cover-ups and making an old tattoo new again.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's faded, or maybe it was done with old tech. You know, some of the older technology. I've seen some tattoos on it. I don't know if the tattoo was older or it was just an older person, but you know, it didn't look real fresh.
Right.
Yeah, we do a fair amount of cover-ups, and we like those because they allow you to kind of perform a magic trick
Absolutely.
and make that old thing disappear that maybe they were ashamed of, or whatever reason. You end up giving them a piece of their body back.
Where they may have covered it for many, many years because it was like, yeah, that was me when I was, you know, 18, or when I was 22, and now I'm, you know, 51, and
We've had clients that didn't take their shirt off at the beach for 7 years, and after getting tattooed, that's all they want to do is go to the beach. So it does give them a sense of pride.
Yeah.
They're able to show off their body again and show that tattoo off where they wanted to do nothing but hide it before. So yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do, is to take old tattoos, something they're ashamed of or don't want to show, and having it to the point where they want to show everybody. That's
cool.
That's very rewarding when it comes.
sounds
to
like a
this.
real rewarding career for you guys then.
Absolutely.
Congratulations to the making it past 2012.
Thank
Now
you.
Reactor Ink. We are on what street?
Cascade.
Cascade.
Yeah.
Cascade, right around the corner from. We've got Remax right on the corner here.
Callie's Cafe.
Callie's Cafe is here. We invite folks to come on down, check out the shop, meet you guys.
Come on down, check us out. If the light's on, we're here.
If the light's on, we're here. That's a good way to do it. And we appreciate you guys coming in early to share information. But again, welcome to the Chamber. Glad to have another strong business supporting all the other businesses here.
Thank you.
And we invite you to come on down to Reactor Ink.
All right, thank
Sounds
you.
great. We'll be
Awesome.
back after break. Well, welcome back to Find It in Fergus Falls. I want to thank our guests today, Nate and Steve from Reactor Ink and Tattoo, for joining us, and thanks again to them for joining the Chamber of Commerce. We'll see you again next week when you tune in to Find It in Fergus Falls. Have a great week.